Hello, Mr. Dove. Thank you for your time. Really enjoyed this film. It's quite brutal and really well choreographed fights. I'm just wondering, from your own point of view, how many injuries did you sustain making this?
I got pretty, I got pretty lucky actually because we did all the fights in the beginning, and I, I got nicked and pretty bruised up here and there, but and rashes on my back from the cage, and but nothing really. I've been hurt way worse on movies, and so it's pretty funny that for some of the most ferocious scenes I've ever probably done, as far as fight scenes. I didn't really get injured. It was funny. I got home after the movie and I was working out and I dropped a weight on my hand and I broke two of my fingers right after the shoot was completed. So I was like, Jesus, I got through all that, didn't break anything, and then I break my two hands with a dumbbell. I was like, I was pretty pissed off, but I was laughing. It was pretty funny. But yeah, I broke my middle finger when I got home to LA. But no, I mean, we got pretty lucky. Sometimes you get
Yeah.
exhausted, you need some time, you get a little lightheaded, but
So I understand you had a pretty short turnaround in terms of being able to get fit for the film. What was your sort of regime to get into shape for it?
well, the movie was wanting me on the ground in Alabama, like as quickly as possible for the fight stuff. And I just said, look, I gotta have, I only have about a month and a half, which is not a lot of time, 5, 6 weeks to add size, because I was coming off True Detective and I was still shooting that, and I was pretty skinny because of all the makeup involved in that and the decades. I was stayed very lean,
Yeah.
and then we put weight on me as I got older and blah blah blah. But you know, my biggest thing was stay with my trainers in LA and eat and put size on. So we put about 8 to 9 pounds on, and then I went down to Alabama, which they were very nervous that I got there so late. But I said I don't need 4 weeks of learning fights. I need a week. I said I'm a very fast learner. I know MMA. There's certain moves I want to learn, but I don't need a month of cardio because then I'm just going to shrink.
Yeah.
And I said, what we want is this guy to be bigger than life. For his weight class, he should be a machine, and I need to put weight on. And so that was my focus. And in the end, they trusted me, and it all worked to the plan. And by the time we got in the arena and we were starting these fights, I was ready. I felt pretty ready.
So your character Cash, there's a touch of the Conor McGregor about him, and he's not a sympathetic character at all, is he? And I'm just, as in the character you play, I'm just wondering if you had any sort of feedback from his camp or his fans or MMA fans.
No, I mean, we did obviously the press in America when it came out in November, and I did a lot of MMA chat shows and blogs, and everybody can recognize the Conor part of my physicality in there. But it was really, when you're playing a guy like Cash, it was more important for me to kind of use a bunch of different people and then morph them into who I thought Liquid Cash Boykin should be. I took a little of Mayweather from the boxing world and his sense of business. I took from a fighter named Cowboy Cerrone, who I know very well.
Yeah.
Obviously Conor's pizzazz and his kind of over the top sensibility with fashion and with, as a showman and as a charismatic figure, we took a lot from him. But the beard. But at the end of the day, this guy's not Irish. He's a hick from Alabama, and he's a red state Republican maniac. And he's just his own beast. And so it's just about taking different things from different people, and then ultimately I just let him go. I mean, it was
Yeah.
my idea to put the gold teeth in. It was my idea to kind of grow the beard, and Nick really, my director, really liked it because I've never really had such a big beard in a movie. But again, the more I did the beard, and then the fancy suits and the crazy outfits, the more Conor I kind of was
Yeah.
becoming. But you know, we weren't doing the Conor McGregor movie. But you know, I'm a fan of Conor McGregor. I'm sure his camp have heard about the movie. If not, they will now. I'm sure with it coming out overseas. And um,
You have some pretty interesting scenes in this. Aside from the fight scenes themselves, you've got some quite uneasy, dramatic scenes to play. The one that really hits me, excusing the pun, is the one that you have with your young son, where he's boxing you. And I can imagine that can't have been the most easy of scenes to have done with a small child in terms of the way that you speak to him, deal with him.
yeah, no, I mean, was a challenge for me was just some of the young people, when I'm working with my little son and when I'm working with the young Jet. And there was some dark stuff going on in the text, and so it was important for me to let them know that this is make believe and that I'm Steven, but I'm going to be doing things in these scenes that are not going to be very friendly towards you, and I might use curse words and I might get a little physical, and you just have to tell me when you get scared, or and I mean, it was kind of important for me to lay the ground rules for these young kids, because my director's Russian. He doesn't really talk that much. He's very quiet, Nick. It was really up to me and my experience working with some young people. I had to kind of lay that out and lay it out for their parents too. And I think, they understood, but it can still be kind of misleading when you're working with a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old. But yeah, that was challenging. It probably wasn't the most challenging mentally for me as some of the others, but it was definitely as far as the age of the children I was working with.
So this is another character-driven film that you do a lot of. You seem to deliberately veer away from big budget blockbusters. I know there was the story about the offer of the lead in Titanic, but is that a conscious thing now? You just have no interest in those blockbusters, those size of films?
No, I mean, I'll do big movies here and there. I mean, I've obviously been doing bigger, more mainstream stuff in television too, with True Detective, and then this show Deputy I did. But the truth is, I just look for the character and the piece, and I'm also looking at what's coming to me. I mean, I don't, as far as the Marvel movies of today, yeah, they don't. I mean, I think most of them are terrible. I just don't really want to be on a movie set for 6 months on a green screen in a stupid suit. I don't want to do that, unless they want to pay me a ridiculous amount of money. To me, I'd much rather do a grounded action movie or something more in the vein of what we did with Blade, which is kind of a mix.
Yeah.
But to be honest, you look at these trailers for Black Widow and Fast and the Furious. I mean, I have no desire to be in those kinds of movies. I think movies in general are gone to total shit. I think I think if we can try to squeeze in a good one here and there, it's like running a marathon and winning the French Open or something. I don't know. I just feel like, and then to boot, the year we're coming off of, and the fact that nobody's really going to the movie theaters, but if they do, they go see kind of silly horror movies. I don't know. My thing is, I love acting and I love real movies. I'm probably going to go off and do this brilliant movie that I read. That's one of the best scripts I've ever read. I'm going to do with Shirley MacLaine, which is probably her last swan song. And we're going to make this movie after I complete this movie that I'm going to probably do in London in the fall. I'm going to work with Shirley, which I'm really excited about. And to me, that's what acting's about. To me, what made me want to become an actor was watching real actors and watching real motion pictures. And I just think today we don't have those directors, we don't have those actors. A lot of them are dying, and as I get older, and it's frankly, on TV even, I was lucky. I got David Milch and Nick Pizzolatto to say yes to me to do True Detective, and that's some of the meatiest writing you're going to see, and have seen in the last year, because whether Queen Gambit or a Crown that's interesting, there's very few good TV shows either, you know.
Well,
So it's just it's really like finding gold in a world of shit, you know.
yeah.
Huh?
Well, I'll always look forward to your films, Stephen. I really enjoy the stuff that you've done. Thank you ever so much for your time. Really
Thank
great.
you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Stephen. Bye-bye.
See you, mate.